It was supposed to be a quiet night, just another boring 10 to 6 shift at the gas station off Route 9. I've worked here for 6 months now, and the worst I'd seen was a drunk guy trying to pay with a crumpled coupon from 2013. But that night, something was different. The moment I stepped in, the lights inside the store flickered a bit when I turned the key in the back door. It wasn't the usual buzz of old fluorescent tubes. It was like the power didn't want to come on. Still, I brushed it off, grabbed my Monster from the fridge, turned on the register, and started scrolling through my phone. No customers for the first hour. Just silence. No cars, no music, just the weird hum of the cooler in the back. Then at 12:47 a.m., the motion alert chimed. Someone was outside. I looked at the screen. A man, but weird. He stood at pump 3, not moving, just standing, facing the store. I waited, thinking maybe he needed help or was lost. But he didn't move. After 3 minutes, I stepped out and waved. "You good, man?" I called. He didn't respond, didn't even flinch, just kept staring. The weird part was he wasn't facing the pump. He was facing me, even through the glass, like he could see right into me. I went back inside, locked the door, and watched him from behind the counter. Then I noticed his shoes weren't touching the ground. He was hovering, just a few inches, but definitely not standing like a normal person. My heart dropped. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, checked the cameras again. Gone. The guy was just gone. I thought maybe it was a shadow trick. I walked to the door again, scanned the lot. Empty. The pumps, the road, nothing. But when I turned around to go back inside, there was a handprint on the glass. Inside. Right at face level. I didn't make that. And it was fresh, like someone had just pressed their hand there. I backed away slowly, phone in hand, ready to dial 911, but before I could, the store lights cut out. Total darkness. I froze. The cooler's hum stopped. Even the clock behind the counter stopped ticking. I swear I could hear breathing. Not mine. Deep, slow, raspy breathing coming from somewhere inside the store. I whispered, "Who's there?" No answer. Just breathing. I turned on my phone flashlight and swept the beam across the shelves. Nothing. I walked toward the back cooler, step by step, trying to stay calm. Then my light hit something in the candy aisle. Feet. Bare feet. Facing sideways. I gasped. The beam followed up. Legs. Torso. No head. Just a neck, ending in ragged skin like it had been torn off. My stomach twisted. I dropped the phone and ran. As I turned toward the door, something grabbed my shirt from behind and whispered right into my ear, "You're not alone on this shift anymore." I screamed and swung blindly, hitting nothing. I bolted out the back door, barefoot, my shoes still inside. I didn't stop running till I reached the diner a mile away. Cops came, checked the store. They found the handprint. They found my dropped phone. But no figure, no floating man, no headless thing. Just me, shaking, half crazy, barefoot in a booth. I quit that night, and sometimes late at night I dream of the hand on the glass and wonder if the next night shift guy ever made it out. I took the night shift at this gas station off Highway 63 because I needed the extra cash. It wasn't supposed to be a long-term thing, just a few weekends to make rent. The station was small, one of those old-school places with flickering overhead lights, a dusty little convenience store, and 2 pumps that barely worked. My only job was to watch the counter from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., keep an eye on the pumps, and make sure no one tried anything shady. Usually, it was quiet. Most nights, not a single car rolled in after 1 a.m. But this past Saturday night, something happened that made me quit the job the very next morning. It started around 2:45 a.m. I was halfway through a stale ham sandwich, scrolling on my phone behind the counter, when I saw a car pull up. It was an old black Buick, the kind you don't see much anymore, with windows so tinted I couldn't make out the driver. The engine stayed running, but nobody got out. I waited for a minute, thinking maybe they were gathering cash or debating on whether to pump gas. Still, nothing. I tapped the screen on the old register to keep it awake, watching. After almost 3 minutes of complete stillness, I grabbed the flashlight and stepped outside. The night was cold and unusually still. Even the usual crickets had gone quiet. I walked slowly toward the Buick, shining my light at the driver's side window. That's when I saw it. The driver was staring straight ahead, hands tight on the wheel, eyes wide open, but completely unmoving. He didn't blink, he didn't turn. It was like he was frozen in place. I knocked on the window. "Hey, you okay?" No response. I knocked again, louder this time. The man didn't even flinch. Then I noticed something that made my stomach twist. There was blood, dried and cracked around the corners of his mouth. I backed away and ran inside to call 911. But just as I reached the counter, I glanced at the monitor. The security camera feed showed the car, still running, but now the driver's seat was empty. I swear I didn't take my eyes off that car for more than 10 seconds. I looked out the window, still no one outside. I locked the front door, heart racing, and picked up the phone. As I dialed, I heard the faint ding of the front door sensor, the sound it makes when someone enters. But the door was still shut, locked from the inside, and yet, when I turned around, a man was standing in aisle 3. He wasn't there a second ago. Tall, pale, bald, wearing a soaked trench coat despite the dry night. His eyes were pitch black, like 2 pits, no whites, just darkness. He stood perfectly still, head slightly tilted, like he was listening to something I couldn't hear. I was frozen for a second, completely paralyzed by fear, before I shouted, "We're closed!" He didn't move. I reached under the counter for the emergency baton we kept. When I looked back, the aisle was empty. I checked the camera feed again. He was never on it, just blank aisles. But I saw him. I heard him breathe. At that moment, all the lights cut out. The gas station was pitch black, except for the faint glow from the cooler in the back. I fumbled for my phone flashlight and started backing toward the office. That's when I heard it, breathing, ragged, deep, slow, right behind me. I turned, shining the light into nothingness, but I felt something pass by me, like air shifting. I couldn't explain it. I locked myself in the office and waited for morning, staring at the monitors even though they showed nothing. At exactly 6:58 a.m., the lights came back on. Everything worked like normal. The car was gone. The aisles were empty. My manager came in at 7:05, cheerful and yawning, asking how the night went. I didn't even answer. I just handed him my badge and left. I drove straight home and haven't been back since. But sometimes, when I check my phone late at night, I get motion alerts from the gas station's camera system. I never connected it to my phone, yet somehow I get notifications, and each one is the same.
This happened about a year ago, when I picked up an extra shift at a gas station about 20 miles out of town. It was the kind of place you only stop at when you're running on fumes. Just one flickering sign, 2 old pumps, and a convenience store that looked like it hadn't been updated since the 90s. I had worked there before during the day, but this was my first overnight shift. The owner, Old Man Connors, said it'd be easy. Stock some shelves, watch the register, and don't fall asleep. He laughed when he said that, but now I think he wasn't joking. It started off slow, just a couple of truckers grabbing snacks and coffee. By midnight, the place was dead silent. I was restocking the chips when I heard the sound of a car pulling in. I looked out through the window. No headlights, no engine, just a beat-up silver Toyota that seemed to appear out of nowhere. It parked at pump 2, but no one got out. I watched for a minute. Still nothing. Then the lights in the store flickered once, just once. I went back to the counter and checked the monitor. 4 cameras outside, 2 inside. The exterior feed showed the car clearly, but the driver's seat was empty. At least that's how it looked. Like there was a figure, but the face was completely blacked out. Just this dark void where a person should be. I figured the camera was glitching, but something about the way it sat there, motionless, started to mess with me. Then the pumps kicked on. The handle lifted off on its own, and I heard the faint click of gas starting to flow. I waited for a customer to walk in, but no one did. I looked again. Still, no one outside. No footsteps, no shadows, and yet the pump was active. Then came the knocking. 4 loud knocks from the back storage door. I froze. That door leads to a fenced-off area, and the only other key is with the manager. It's always locked. I stared at it for a second. The knocks came again, this time louder. I grabbed the flashlight and went to check. The door was still locked, deadbolt secure. No one should be out there. I opened it slowly, shining my light into the alley. Nothing. Just cold air and that weird silence, like the kind that makes your ears ring. Then, the door slammed shut behind me. I spun around, heart racing, and tried to open it. Locked from the inside. I banged and shouted, but no one heard. I had to circle around the building to get back in through the front. That's when I noticed it. The silver car was gone. Just vanished. No tire tracks, no engine noise, nothing. But sitting right at the door was the gas nozzle, still dripping fuel, placed upright like someone had gently set it there. I went inside and tried calling Connors, but the line was dead. Not disconnected, just dead, like it never rang. I sat behind the counter for the rest of the shift, trying to stay calm. But then, just before 4 a.m., every single cooler door opened at once, slammed open, all at the same time. I jumped up and ran to look, thinking maybe it was a power surge. That's when I saw it. A man standing in aisle 5. I swear on my life I didn't hear the bell. The door didn't open. He was just suddenly there. He wore a tattered flannel, jeans soaked from the knees down, and no shoes. His mouth was wide open like he was screaming, but no sound came out. Just silence. And then, in the blink of an eye, he was gone. I checked every inch of the store. No one. Nothing. But there was something scratched into the counter where he'd been standing. I still don't know how it got there. It said, "He never left." I quit that morning. Didn't even wait for Connors to show up. I just left the keys in the register and drove until sunrise. A few weeks later, I heard a guy from the next town took that same shift. He lasted 2 nights. On the 3rd, they found the store wide open, lights on, pumps running. No sign of him. But the camera footage, it showed him locking the door from the inside and then standing completely still for 6 straight hours, staring into the security monitor. Not blinking, not moving, just staring. And on the screen was a silver Toyota. Pump 2.